Hi, I'm Rex Carden, and I've been working on a new little application here for OpenCV. I call it OpenCV Playground. And basically, it's just an app to help you understand the different methods and what they do to an image using the OpenCV framework. So instead of just talking to you, let me just show you how it works. It's pretty straightforward. It's a really simple application built on WPF. It's the .NET framework. This is what it looks like. So you can, there's only one option in the menu is to open an image. And then you have this action stack on the right. And this is where you apply different OpenCV methods. And you can see some different things are exposed. These are the parameters of the method. You can add more methods. And you can build up quite a stack here. You can also change the order, so you can blur it first, then threshold. You can operate on any part of the stack, and you can continue to do this and add different things. And so it's pretty slick, pretty straightforward. You can actually build your own actions, and you can help me build this up to have more functionality. It's the user interface is actually built for you. I'm going to show you how. All you have to do is implement a couple of different, easy attributes that I've created for you. So you can do a slider control like this. You can do a like an enum combo box control, and you can also do. Let me get the draw contours so you can see. I also have a color control. So you can, if there's something that you have a method that requires like a scalar color RGB, you can automatically build this using an attribute. Let me show you how. So if you are on the GitHub, you can go to my OpenCV Playground, download a zip, and you're going to get the solution. You're going to need Visual Studio to open it. And the main application is this OpenCV Playground, but it's actually really light. There's not very much to it, not much code to this. Most of the code is in this Actions module. This is how you're going to build your own actions. If you open it up, you'll see there's an Actions folder, and these are the current actions that I have created. To show you how to build one, let's pretend like we want another action called flip action. And that mimics the flip method in OpenCV. So we'll make a class called flip action. The key here is it needs to inherit from image action. It's a class I made to help with a couple different things. It helps with the user interface. And if you're going to inherit from that, you need to set two different things. You need to set this action property. The action property, it's a function that takes a matrix, an OpenCV matrix, and gives back an OpenCV matrix after you have manipulated it. Let's take a quick look at the blur action. You can see when you construct the action, you need to set the name, and then you need to set the action. The name is how it's going to show up on the user interface, and the action is what it's actually going to do. Let me copy this and take it over to our flip action. And let me just change up the name here. We'll call this flip. And instead of blur, we are going to flip. So I'm using the OpenCV Sharp framework. It's a .NET implementation of OpenCV. And you can get dot dissension into OpenCV methods. So I've got my incoming matrix here, the M, and then I can do M dot and see what options I've got. So I'm going to do flip. And flip takes this parameter flip mode. So this is the parameter I'm going to expose in the user interface. So let me make a private field here. Call it flip mode. and then we'll set its default value to X. I'm going to right-click it, Quick Actions. I'm going to encapsulate it into a property. I did that because this is the thing we're going to expose on the user interface with an attribute. Let's go back to the blur action and we can see what these attributes look like. So if it's a slider attribute, if it's going to be a number, you're going to want to use this. And when you drop this attribute above a property, it's going to build the user interface for you. That's what this is for. And then I've got this other one, enum, which is what we need for our flip action. Paste that in. Let's get our using statement. And then here you have to tell it the type of property this is. So I'm going to copy and just paste this. And that way it knows what to fill the combo box with, this type of enum. The last thing we need to do is, instead of just setting the field directly, the image action actually inherits from something in the Microsoft Practices library called Prism. And it's just an application framework. It's got an MVVM component. And when you're going to use a WPF application, you need to implement this thing called iNotifyPropertyChange. You don't have to know all this, but if you're going to have the UI update when you change this property, you need to make sure that you use this method called setProperty. And it's part of the Prism framework. So you just say ref, you point to the field, and then you put the value in. And basically this is going to just, whenever this thing is actually changed, it's going to throw up an event that it's been changed and tells the user interface to update. Okay, very simple for you, and there's a lot of plumbing behind the scenes what's going on here. All right, now let's actually work on our action, what this thing's going to do. So we've already flipped our image. I need a semicolon here. I'm going to dispose. Oh, this is not right. Let's put in our property we just made. Flip mode. Let's dispose of the incoming matrix after we've used it. We've created a new one here. If we've got this far, we know there's been no error. We're going to say has error. The image action has an error property that, if it's set to true, will turn the background red. So it just tells you that something's gone wrong. And when that happens, it's going to return the original matrix unchanged. And then let's return the flip matrix. So matrix in, matrix out, the action function has been satisfied. If there has been a problem, we're going to set the has error to true. And like I said, that's going to set the UI to red on that action. That way you know something's gone wrong. All right, that is all there is to it. We've built an action. It's ready to use. The only thing we have to do is tell the view model that there's a new action. So you go over to, I'm still in the actions module. You go to view models, action view model. You're going to see when this thing initializes, I tell it the list of actions that to have in the dropdown. So we just need to make a new one here. Copy and paste, and I'm going to paste in our flip action that we just created. All right, it's ready to go. It's that simple. And again, remember, we didn't build any user interface for that, but it's going to have one. So I'm going to press start. File open. Let's get our zebra. We can see we've got our new flip action that we just made. I'm going to add it, and you can see it defaults to X. That's because we set the field to start with X. And we can drop this down, and as it changes, it gets pushed down the stack, and the image changes. Okay, so that's how you make an action. It's pretty straightforward. The last thing, just to tell you real quick, is that color control. Let's see, find and draw contours, just so you can see what that looks like. If you're going to have a scalar or a color, you need this RGB color attribute, and that will put a color picker in the user interface. So you have the slider option, the enum combo box option, and you have this RGB color. And that should cover quite a bit of the methods